morning. This is the Athens City Shade Tree Commission meeting for January the 8th, 2015. We have no Title 33 tree permit issues. We have one landscape ordinance issue, Title 37. And I'd like to invite Alan, are you going to come and introduce this? Sure. Yeah. If you come to the podium, just give your name and address and what your business is with the Commission tonight.
All right, my name is Alan McMillan. I live at 209 East State Street, Berry, on Cranberry Road. We acquired a property. The necessary variances to go forward, and now we're going through the Title 41 inspection and Planning Commission and all that goes with that. So I think it's pretty plain. I bought a building that's over 100 years old. We are not extending the building anywhere where it hasn't been, just by the nature of the fact it's in a city. You know, it's kind of like locked into, it is what it is. And actually, I mean, I don't have a vision into, past history, but I think that it's, the Athens got built around it in some ways. And then I find myself here tonight to answer whatever questions you have.
Well, I guess the first question I've got is just to confirm that the building is the one that's marked in black on the top page of this large set.
That is correct.
And that's it. There's no land around it.
That's
it. Part of this project.
Yeah, there is a right-of-way in front of it that spans from where it says lower parking lot behind these two buildings. We happen to own those as well, but that's a different property, and we want to confine our comments to this property. That property has I think it's like 15 feet wide easement that goes all the way, or piece of land that goes all the way across, not an easement, we own the land, all the way to the corner of the building. So we have that now. So there's, but that's necessary for parking. Also, there's a city dumpster, which we have to deal with. And by the way, there's a mistake in these plans because erroneously someone moved the dumpster inside the garage, but it's a city dumpster. You can't put a city dumpster inside a garage. And so, this is the unwrapping, and going through the process. But it's but that space is, and there's a parking space we're going to have there. And so we're working our way through it. But it's essentially landlocked. We don't own the building. We don't own the land behind it either.
As I'm looking at the cover page, it looks like the footprint of the building is about 2,000 square feet.
You turn to the fourth page. The lot size is 30 feet by 77 feet and about 50 inches, which is 2,340 square feet.
Yeah. So the reason I'm sort of zooming in on that is that under Title 37, you're required to plant one large shade tree for every 1767 square feet of space. I mean, that essentially means this is one tree we're talking about, I think.
So 1.5, but
we don't usually argue about the half trees if we have to. I mean, we could round it up, I guess.
That's a small tree.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But I just wanted to get everyone settled on the idea that we're not talking about a lot of trees here. We're talking about one, maybe two at most. And what we've got here, I think, and I'm hoping you'll step in if you don't think this is appropriate, but I think what we have here is a case where we are going to have to invoke the tree banking principle that we have in our policies, that where there is no way in which they can comply with the tree, with Title 37, without losing the ability to use the building. I mean, obviously we don't want you knocking down chunks of the building and plant a tree. Then I think this is an example where we would invoke the tree banking process, whereby essentially the owner has to pay the city a lump sum for a tree to be planted somewhere else in the city, basically. And it essentially relieves the owner of the maintenance of that tree, and so that's why we are reluctant to ever do this. It's not something that we will do unless we can not see any other way to enable the property to come into compliance. And it was certainly built into the Title 37 ordinance that the Tree Commission were to have this power, and we will only exercise it when we cannot see another way to do it. And so that, I think, is the proposal that in order to get this into compliance, if I remember the policy correctly, the code director is the person who's going to actually make sure that the city receives the money, and then you, Ron, as the Service Safety Director's representative, are going to make sure it's put into our funds for purchasing of trees.
That's correct.
I don't know if you've got any particular preference on where your tree is located.
Do we get to name it?
You get to name it.
Do we get a plaque? Can we put a plaque?
No, we don't go in for plaques on trees.
No, not on the tree, but like on the ground. I just wondered that. I mean, because
we've had too many problems with people trying to come up with designs for that that are going to be long lasting. So we keep a registry of where special trees are planted. But so we will remember where it was planted.
Signs
there won't be a plaque. Yeah, signs do not last as long as trees.
One of the things that we were curious about, if you look at the elevations. One of our intentions was at the balconies to put plantings in those. We were wondering, is that something that we could do in lieu of the bank? Is that a possibility?
and in fact, I'll add to that, where we want to, where all the brick wall is, which is expense to us to maintain this. I lived in the Back Bay in Boston, and I bought a carriage house, so it was in the alley. And I wanted to have more green. That's where I lived. So what we actually did was we dug holes, put PVC around it, got down to where the dirt was, put great dirt in, and we put ivy. So we had beautiful ivy going all along the brick. It wouldn't be above the brick line, so you see where the second planters are. But we envision that to all be covered in ivy. The challenge with that is the ivy goes in and it's invasive to the mortar in between the blocks. So there comes a time where you have to maintain that and then repoint the bricks and plant and adjust. So that goes to extra maintenance for us. But we thought between that and the planters, we would add some richness to the alley that doesn't exist now. And so we've tried to be thoughtful about this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not something that we would consider as an alternative. We're in the shade tree business, and so we'll
unless you're going to put a maple tree in one of those balconies, but that's really beneficial. What you're
landscaping
talking about.
Over and above the tree requirement is not something that we get into.
But it sounds like a very nice thing to do.
Oh,
and
yes,
there may be
commended.
different varieties of ivy which are easier on the brick and mortar. I don't know, but when I went to Bates College graduation, each graduating class plants a kind of ivy to grow up a building.
Oh,
so
nice.
If no place else, they may have an idea of. But we're missing Emily tonight. She would be able
She's our expert on that
to tell
stuff.
us, but we might ask her if there's.
Well, this is our first attempt. We came in here around 7 years ago, and we bought, a significant amount of property between here and there. And but this is our first run at development, if you will. So my wife, Kateri, and I are both committed to doing something we're proud of, makes the community nicer, and it will be enduring, when we're gone. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, no, I think it looks like a good design.
And I certainly appreciate the effort to put in green,
Yes.
but recognize that, part of the reason for the Shade Tree Commission is not just to get trees out there everywhere, but it contributes to lowering the temperature of asphalt by having shade trees as a canopy over our city streets. So by you, participating in this banking process, that can contribute to that effect somewhere else, if not directly next to your property.
Yeah, some of the economic challenges of the property has been there is electrical lines, and we've learned there's two types of electrical lines. There's the really high tension, a lot of voltage, and then there's the secondary lines. And unfortunately, next to our building, we have the high voltage lines.
Yes.
Now, we've worked with AEP, and there is another owner that's going to allow us to put the poles there, but that is all at our expense. So, and then there was the water lines, and I think it's all been in the news. And then the city's been good at working with us on that, but it's every little thing that creeps up gets more difficult in the end of the day. And you have to go through some of this process, and by the time you close on the building, we did that a couple of weeks ago, not everything's said and done. So we're still coming up with the final pro forma, but we just are being optimistic but cautious too. And I hope you appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do we have a set amount for the cost of the
that's
tree and the labor?
It's fair market value of the type of tree we want, 2-inch caliper and planted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the service safety director is the policy says that they are to have in their office a price for this that they've developed on those principles that Ron has just announced.
Do we get that estimate now, or do we get it at the time you want to actually put the tree in? It's the then prevailing rate?
That's how I would expect to do it. If we invoke the tree bank policy, if we had a tree that we wanted to plant, like you wanted to plant a maple, a red maple, we would price that out, get a couple quotes on it, average it.
Okay. If you could give us some sort of plug number, because we're coming up with a pro forma for the banks and the construction loans, it would help us.
On the order of $300, I would think.
It's $250 approximately.
Yeah, I mean
For the total cost of tree and the labor?
Yes.
yeah, less than 500 anyway.
Okay.
I mean,
That's good.
we're not talking a lot of money for one tree.
Okay.
On
And
this,
you just want one tree is fine.
one live shade tree. That's all we need. Yeah.
Make it big.
Oh, yeah.
Now, would that be on Court Street, or is it just wherever you decide you're going to put it?
It could
It
finish.
could be on Court Street.
Yeah.
It could be just a street tree wherever we find a need for, which we have plenty.
We certainly have some sites on Court Street.
Court Street.
And we
It
can
could be near the apartment complex. Find a place for it.
Yeah. I guess just as far as being in Athens, there's something I would point out to you, that don't forget West Union. The thing is, we say West Union is strong. I think it was maybe this community. I'm talking about government, university, citizens, was our finest hour, I think, that we've witnessed after the fire. And if you go down Court Street right now, you see the beautiful holiday lights, being politically correct, holiday lights, and then go down West Union, and it's forgotten. And we actually own property down there too, so we would promote, trying to do something nice on that venue as well.
If the infrastructure underneath those sidewalks would take a treatment.
There is a lot of infrastructure underneath.
Yeah, I mean that's actually something to be considered when that property is redeveloped or whatever happens to it.
Right.
As to what should also happen to the infrastructure in front of the building, because we have areas along Court Street where we can't plant trees because whatever reason there's infrastructure too near the surface that can't tolerate a tree.
Yeah, we had a conversation. We ran into each other earlier, though, but but for the record, we left California and we were in a community that had beautiful trees. They were protected along the main drags, and it really brought some personality. And actually, the holiday lights at one point, they extended them up into the branches, and they left them going all summer long. And they were very concerned about trees and tree maintenance, and was spectacular. And I think there's an opportunity to upgrade West Union and Court Street to make it more beautiful than it is now. And if what we're doing, we can be a part of that, we enthusiastically would embrace that opportunity.
I think you had some good words about tree guards, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I think that at some juncture, if you're going to really maintain trees, I think you have to put tree guards on them if they're in an early urban environment. And I don't know what the do you have an idea, Ron, about what a tree guard costs?
No. I mean, they're pricey.
Is it
I don't have an idea.
Is it a few $100s?
For a good tree guard?
Yeah.
A few thousand.
A few thousand, okay. But I mean, at some point, I mean, the community we came from, that, if you build, the first thing that gets protected is the construction fence goes around the trees. And so but it's lovely. But the thing is, but they're tree guards along the major, thoroughfares. And, they worked well. But then I don't know, at some point, does the tree get so big that it, then strangled by the guard? So I don't know how you do that.
Transition to a larger guard, or you just take it off because the tree,
at some point they won't.
A lot of the guards that have the wrought iron grates that go into the ground that we do not have uptown. We just have mulch. You can cut pieces of it out as the tree grows and expand the guard itself. Yeah, so consider that as part of the price for a tree guard is the actual tree pit cover. That's why they get pricey.
Mm-hmm. Is that part of the tree commission's or Shade Tree's vision that along, uptown, I would think this is where you start, that would be part of the...
One of the things that we would certainly like to see is some tree guards on the trees there. It's a matter of obviously budgeting with the city, although we have had some good responses from property owners like yourself in this, and certainly if the property owners on Court Street are interested in this type of thing, we would certainly encourage them to think about sponsoring tree guards for these trees.
I would think that we own some on West Union and not yet on Court, but the thing is, it would be good to know, like what would be like the rough estimate. Now we've learned what it costs to bank a tree, but I think if that number was circulated, there'd be better chance of getting, private support around it.
Yeah.
Well, we just recently had a significant campaign to raise funds for perimeter lighting on the tops of the buildings on Court Street, and that was a resounding success. People wanted it, and so they paid for it. And tree guards could be a similar thing.
And I think that, and what I would also encourage, that we have another block uptown, which is West Union, and we need to extend down there too.
Mm-hmm.
There's been, can I talk about this?
Yes, certainly. Yeah.
There's been discussion of extending the perimeter lighting and the tree plantings between Congress and College on all the side streets. So Union Street, Washington Street, State Street, and there are people that are willing to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the challenges that we have are not only getting the lights installed, but also if we look at a tree perspective, the infrastructure, maybe doing a sidewalk plan where we would incorporate building tree pits up so that they have room to breathe and don't get into the infrastructure as much. But when you do that, you get into challenges such as accessibility. Are you going to need to take away a parking space to do that, or do you have enough room on the sidewalk to do it without creating a accessibility concern? And so those are things that we need to think about if we're going to do that. It may be something as simple as a 4x4 pit, cut out, dug up, and hope for the best. I don't know. We don't know what's there. But we do know that we have a significant weave of utilities underneath Union Street.
And what are the chances that a tree would be in the way to get to the utility? That's a concern I have. In other words, if it turned out that they needed to get to some place in the utility and there was a tree over it, even if the tree wasn't doing any damage.
Yeah, I mean, that is a concern. If a water line breaks underneath a tree, probably going to dig the tree up.
Now, if it's a contained box, then with some heavy equipment, the box could be moved, but,
Yeah.
But then the tree wouldn't end up being very big.
No. Exactly.
They can get
But you can
pretty
get,
good size.
if you go to, I think it's Zanesville that has the big tree planter that are, they're huge pots. There's shade trees in those things. And they're not enormous. They don't grow outside their container size, but they're significant. But you can do exactly what Lee's saying. If you needed to, you can move it to access a utility that's underground.
See, the tree pits that are on Court Street, are those, do you know how deep they are? I mean, those don't provide an enormous amount of space for each tree either, right?
No, they're 4x4 square, and their depths vary depending on their location. Because if you remember, I don't know if you remember when we did the streetscape, there were a number of vaults that protruded out into Court Street from a lot of the businesses, particularly on the western side of Court Street, and we filled those in with concrete. And these vaults were of various depths. So at some point, you're running into a concrete vault that's going to impede the growth of the tree, at least downward. Could probably go outward.
Yeah, the roots tend not, as I understand it, the roots tend not to go out very far if there is no connection with air to the surface. So that.
I think we've probably exhausted this one.
Great ideas, Alan.
Yes, and we really appreciate having business people in the town who want to improve the quality of the environment here. I think the proposal then is that we let them bank one tree against this project. I'll get the code director and you or your representative connected with it, with John Ballantyre. So that's the proposal, that they be allowed to bank one tree. Are there any objections to that? Nope, that's it then. Thank you, Alan.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Cheers.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, okay. Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good to see you, Alan. Yeah, I got it written down here to do some research. I haven't researched them in a while.
They've got a variance. I don't know. The next item on the agenda is Ron's report. What have you got for us this evening, Ron?
Mostly announcement type things. The Ohio Tree Care Conference is going to take place in Dayton this year, February 8th through 10th. So I plan on attending if anybody else wants to go.
Instead of being done by Ann here?
No, that's the Southeast Ohio Tree Care Conference,
okay.
and that'll be in September.
Okay, all right.
As far as I know, that's still in the plans to do. But I've gone to the Ohio Tree Care Conference since I've gotten my certified arborist certification, so it's worthwhile to go to. Maybe I'll learn some stuff about tree guards. Ash borers.
I think we need to be in a position to come out with a solid price for people to talk about with this, because I think if we can get enough business owners interested in this.
I need to call Zanesville again to see if those are still available.
Yeah.
Those would be perfect.
Yeah.
At least the grates. I mean, we'd still have to get the guards to go into the grates, but they had a lot of grates.
Yeah.
Arbor Day 2015. There's been a interest from Theta Chi fraternity to return to assist in sponsoring that. They've done a good job. The couple of times that they did do it happens to be my fraternity. So I kind of pushed them to do it as a community service. But they're interested in doing it on the real Arbor Day, so sometime in April.
April something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's April 21st, I think.
Okay.
That name, that's ringing a bell for some reason.
Okay.
But anyway, if that's the case, I think that would be fine. We just, if not, we'll continue to do it in the fall. I personally like doing it in the fall, but if we can get someone to sponsor it and they want to do it in April, I think that we should probably look into
Take
that.
advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better to do it on the actual
Worst thing
Arbor
means
Day.
we have to do a little bit more watering. That's all to keep whatever's planted
Through the
alive.
summer.
Yeah.
April 21st may be Earth Day. I think that's what. That's
okay.
What that is. But,
They're fairly close together.
yeah, I think I think it's in that same week or so.
Yeah. So
So in that
I'll
case,
keep you
we need to
posted on
settle on
that.
a site for it fairly soon then, if that's what we're going to do.
yeah, there hasn't. I've been thinking about the schools, and we've done things near East Elementary, and we did one at the middle school this past year, of course. We've done things where West Elementary has been able to get to it. We haven't done anything where Morrison Gordon's been able to get to something. So maybe that's a possibility.
And they just did that garden. And they put in a garden last fall. So there might be a good opportunity there.
Okay.
There are also 2 green ash in the front between Morrison and Beacon School. And
We can show off
there's a
the ash
beautiful-
borer again.
There's plenty of space in the middle there to plant
Yeah.
a tree for the future
Okay.
in the event.
So if there's no initial thoughts on that or concerns about that, I can explore having our Arbor Day there.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Be a good opportunity for those young students to have to learn a little bit about them.
And it's on Friday, April 24th.
Okay. Friday.
Very good.
And
My
if
phone
we,
is smarter than me.
We have a gator bag for that tree, and maybe the
Yeah.
school could organize making sure that the tree gets enough water.
That actually would be a bit easier, I would think, if it is actually planted close to a school, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look into that.
6 weeks or so.
I had two other items. The first one was AEP Asplund's trimming process. I think they're done, but they cleared the circuit on the Near East side, heading into the Far East, and they also did some work on Madison, Spring, Evans, that area, all the same circuit. So I did get some occasional complaints. I don't know what you've gotten being over there, Jennifer, but I know there were some concerns. The majority of the concerns were not street trees. The majority of the concerns were privately owned trees. That gets tricky for me because I'm getting a number of concerns and questions and aggravations from citizens that I need to do something about it. And I other than calling Asplund and saying, hey, can you do ISA sort of standards, best practices on these trees, especially when you're talking to a property owner that's concerned. But as far as shutting them down or telling them they can't do that, I'm really kind of limited there.
Yeah.
Not like I can with a street tree.
One of the purposes of when we renegotiated the agreement with them, the franchise for the city, it was supposed to be done on a cycle where we could come back and renegotiate. Now, what happened to that franchise agreement?
It's been rolled over twice, and it's coming up again this year. So it's possible we could have a new franchise
As part of a
agreement this year.
review of that's the only opportunity the city has, and there is no reason, as I was reading it, and City Council is the one that's going to have to pass it, but I don't think there's any reason why you can't put in requirements on them in that franchise agreement that they've got to do certain things when they're dealing even with private property owners.
Agreed.
And they need to meet that standard. And that may impose work on you or the safety director to make sure that that's done. But I think that's the only way that the city has got to help a private property owner with this.
I can't speak for private property owners because I'm sure the interactions between some private property owners and AEP/Asplund is different than my dealings with them. But I personally went around with them on street trees and told them what they needed to do to these trees.
My reading of the franchise agreement, it may be different to yours then, because as I understand it, that franchise, which is enacted by the City Council on behalf of the citizens of Athens, also applies to their access to trees on private property.
Exactly, and there's a process that they are supposed to go through to communicate with residents, and they do. However, if there's a person that's not home, or if there's a person that owns a home and they don't live here, they don't get the hang tag, and they might not return the phone calls.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be challenges like that.
Yes.
Until we're.
Now, I think the best you can do is ensure that they're complying with whatever the franchise agreement says. But that's unfortunately something that is probably going to finish up in your office to do.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be, I just wanted to let you know where they were in their tree trimming. I know that they're not doing the quote unquote butchering that they used to, so we've made some strides.
Yes.
But we can always be better.
Yeah.
So,
Have you seen some of the trees that have been complained about? Or
I have. There were some bad cuts on a few trees, but for the most part, there was no flat topping that I've seen. But there were some bad cuts here and there, and I pointed it out to their supervisors when I saw those. So.
Okay, good.
There was a major transmission line clearance on Courier, which is different from Asplund's work. They hired a different crew. They hired Nelson Tree Services. They did a pretty nice job on their trimming, but it's different. It's a different. They can. Trees aren't typically planted as close to those major transmission lines, so most of the work they're doing is either trim work or just thinning. So I didn't get any complaints during their work. I had a number of complaints prior to the work, but not during. So anyway, the other thing that I had is I didn't know if this would be a good time to talk about potential new members. There's apparently 4 people that are interested in being tree commissioners. We have room for 2, right?
We've had 4 people suggested,
Okay.
and I know 2 are willing.
Yeah.
One who spoke to you,
Jeff Buckley.
and another one, Nancy Walker. I spoke to her late this afternoon before the meeting, and she's willing and interested.
And the process that we should follow once we've established that they are willing to serve is to ask them to submit a letter of interest to the mayor along with a brief CV.
I have that information from Jeff Buckley. I have a resume and a cover letter. So
So
I can forward that on to you and the mayor.
Can they send the letter of interest to you, or do you want a hard copy, or what?
They can do it digitally.
Okay.
Email me. That's fine. And if we review those letters of interest and qualifications and recommend to the mayor, he would probably appoint those.
And they would be alternates, is that correct,
Yes.
David?
The idea is that Leah is an alternate at the moment. We would essentially upgrade her to a full member. She's been here for long enough.
I degraded to allow other people.
Yeah. And then the alternates would serve 1-year terms at a time. And if we lose any more full members, then they'll become full members, presumably. I think actually it's City Council that gets to ratify them, isn't it, as well? I think that's
I'm not sure for tree committee.
part of the process.
Is it?
I haven't had annual letters.
No.
As an alternate, I didn't realize it.
And,
Appointed by the mayor with the approval of council.
okay, there we go. So Lee, you would be moved to a full member, and the 2 new members would be
The
alternates.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I had is, and I said this at the last meeting I was at, which was, I believe, in November, the potential for hosting the Tree City USA Awards, since we are 25 years now. I think it would be an excellent opportunity to promote our trees in our city and get that 25th year award.
Good idea.
Yeah. And I missed
Anybody has suggestions on what we should do or want to do?
I wouldn't mind helping.
What month will that be?
I think it's in April. Everything's in April.
Yeah. Birthday.
It may be in March, but I think it's typically in April.
I know the previous year we hosted it, we had it at the community center.
Yeah, I want to go above and beyond that. I mean, I thought it was a good program, but I think we should go for a full day.
Okay.
With some type of tour, whether it would be on the bike path or a tour through Sells Park or something to show off our canopy. Then
Sounds good.
Would we have if we had a speaker and a lunch? Would that be at the community center? You think?
Yeah, I think that would be
I think that would be
appropriate,
good.
especially if we did something in Sells Park. We're pretty near there. We could probably tour the ODNR facility and all the different trees that they have planted there. They have some interesting trees planted
Yeah.
there.
The library could also be a potential site for something.
Yes.
You know, they do have quite a few trees, trees along the bikeway, and public
Just
meeting
on the
space.
property even.
Yeah, so maybe we should form a subcommittee. As if we can get Ann to approve this site, we can form some type of little group that can plan this out, because it could end up being pretty intensive. Planning
Yeah, I would
event
help
we
with
want.
that. I mean,
Yeah, I would serve.
There you go. You've got a committee, Ron.
That was easy.
Yeah.
So I'll email Ann and see what her feelings are on that. That's all I have.
And I misspoke. The alternates, just like the regular members, have 2-year terms.
Okay.
So these alternates would be serving for 2 years. Okay, thank you, Ron. I've got a couple of things under, I guess they'll come under the maintenance of the tree canopy. I was told about some problems with stub pruning on the property or the parking lot in front of Staples and so on. I have tried to find more information out about the contractor. I've not succeeded, and so my proposal is going to be that we get the code office to write to the property owner explaining their obligations to maintain these trees properly, and that they're not doing that.
As shade trees.
As shade trees, yes. Yeah.
Right, that's
But I thought
key
the letter
term.
that Ann sent to you would be very valuable, attachment or.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we can put an explanation as to
Right.
what we expect, but
Right.
without knowing who the contractor
Well,
is.
she put the name in there.
Yeah, but I need an address.
Oh, true.
And,
Okay.
and there isn't one there. And
I was told he was a Staples employee, but,
when I spoke to the person in Staples, the manager there claimed to know nothing
Okay.
about how to contact anybody.
okay, all right.
So that's why I'm quite willing to go to the
Yes.
county auditor's site, find out who owns
Yep.
it, and I'll get the code office to send them a letter. And I don't want to get legalistic with them, but
Right.
if we can't get cooperation at the base level, we've got to start at the top and work our way down.
Okay.
Because that is not acceptable to go pruning those trees in the way that they did.
Absolutely, because it destroys the purpose, which
Yep.
is to provide shade.
Right.
Yep.
That was originally approved, yeah.
Yep. Second matter, a good matter, this one. I was out on the bike path, Ron, down towards the end where the red oaks are planted, and noticed that someone had done some rather nice lifting and pruning. Now, is that your work down there? Or is that somebody doing a kind service to the city?
Somebody doing a kind service to the city.
Okay, because I was going to ask if it be continued on the other side of the bike path where we've got trees they're planted at the bottom of the.
Where was this at exactly?
Right at the end of the bike path, just before you get to the Pepsi plant. There's on the north side. There's 2 rows of red oaks, and most of them have been pruned and lifted beautifully.
I don't believe it was our guys.
Okay.
I know
You want to go down there and have a look, and if you can at some time, and just see, because it was done very well. And as I say, if we could get it done on the other side, at the foot of the bank, where I think there are mainly bur oaks on that side, but they could do with a little bit of TLC because they've got a lot of vines growing into them and so on. And if you can lift them, that it takes longer for the vines to get up to cause damage and so on. In fact, there are some spaces down in that area where those red oaks are planted for replacement trees because some have died off. Only 1 or 2, but there's some obvious holes there. So that's the end of...
I had another one.
Okay.
For maintenance of tree ash tree removal plan. I think that we need to get started on that, unfortunately. The strategy for identifying trees that are infected, start cutting some down. And maybe we identify the ones that we want to save and at least attempt to save for a few years.
Well,
and
our
start
policy
treatments.
is that if they are in decline, then rather than prune them, we should remove them.
Yeah.
So I think we have to wait until they are in decline,
Okay.
and then we remove them. unless they're very small. But I mean, I don't think we've got anything that's very small anymore because we haven't planted ash trees for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I think the policy says wait until they start to decline. Once they're in decline, remove them. Do not prune them. And unless there's another reason to remove a tree that's got the ash borer on, I don't think just the presence of the ash borer itself is a.
What I would say to that is if we had a 5 or 10 year removal plan where we were going to remove all the ash trees in the city, we just do it based on the funding for a 10-year cycle, a 10-year plan. So it doesn't matter if they're in decline or not, you just remove them.
No, we as a tree commission.
I got that. I'm just saying the only reason that we would wait for a decline is if we wanted to do, that strategy of removal.
When the plan was developed, the idea was that we knew we didn't have that many ash trees that the city were responsible for in places where we would have to cut them down. I mean, if they're in parks and they're not going to fall on anybody, they can be infected, decline, and fall over there. But obviously, if they're street trees or close to walkways and so on, and they get into decline, we should remove them. But if a tree is not in decline, we should not be removing it.
One of the problems is that from the time of the initial infestation to when it's obvious there's a problem, then the tree goes so quickly that it could be, I could see it being a hazard.
Well, and that's my concern, to be honest with you. I know that we have our policy, but my concern is we do not know right now how big the infestation is.
Well, have you got a map of where you're finding the infestation now?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
But
as we start populating,
we know that it's in the North Lancaster to the Washington Street area, and we know that it's part of Ohio University. So chances are the whole west side is infested. Yeah. You know what happens when a significant number of those trees are declining at once? That's a significant
expense. That was what the plan entertained.
Exactly, but it's going to be something that we would have to go to council to get funding for because the money's not there to do a mass removal of ash trees at this point. And it's not going to need to happen this year because they're probably not going to decline this year.
What, aren't there two at the middle school, or am I confused?
I mean that one there, I would say, is an obvious example of a tree in decline, and it should be removed because you can see it's going to be a dead tree within 2 years.
And not only that, that's in a situation where there are students milling around.
Sure.
That's in a public area. Now, is that on city land?
No, those aren't right-of-way trees.
What's that?
They aren't right-of-way trees.
Oh.
They're not our problem, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
The ones on North Lancaster are, and one of the ones on North Lancaster is starting to decline a little bit.
But that would be my view on it. And at the end of the day, Title 33 says that all we can do is advise the Service Safety Director, and so it's up to her decision as to how quickly she wants to remove these trees. But our recommendation is to wait until there is evidence of decline before you start removing.
So the one tree on North Lancaster would meet that criteria, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And my question is, if there's going to be there may be so many at one time, and how do we work out funding for that?
Well, we know how many trees we've got.
Right.
It's a case of Ron doing the calculation on the assumption that they're not all going to be needed to be removed in 1 year, but they may have to be removed over 5 years.
Right.
And so his boss needs enough money in the kitty for a 5-year period of tree removals.
Right.
We can't really pace that.
Right.
No. And a lot of those trees, we can take a chainsaw from the Public Works Department and cut them down.
Yes.
But there are going to be some tricky ones that are going to cost some money.
Yes.
And were there no young ones when the survey was done? Were there no young ash trees that had volunteered?
There were some.
Because that seems to me, getting young, inexpensive trees removed might be possible. And that was one of the strategies that was recommended for
Yeah,
this.
again, that's in the plan, but I didn't know
Yeah.
that we had any young trees left.
Yeah, we had a few.
If there are some volunteers, then fine, they can go. Because that certainly was envisaged in the plan.
Do we know how Ohio University is approaching it at this time?
Not 100%. I know that they are doing some treatment on some in the Peden Stadium area.
Okay.
They're going to try to save those. I think the condo as well.
Okay.
But I don't know what they've removed so far or what their strategy is.
Do we-
I'll talk to Susan Calhoun about that.
I think they also may have a plan for disposal as well. And so the city and the university may want to
Yeah.
look together to see if there's a sensible disposal plan that they can put
Before
together.
they were using wood chips in the vessel composter. I don't know if that would be something that would be,
As long as it's not transported out of the state, yes.
just up to
Exactly.
the ridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I wouldn't think that there would be any problem with anything left after it was composted. Chipped and
Certainly not
composted.
if they can develop a high enough temperature.
And that's what it does,
Okay.
at least in principle.
Good.
Well, from the time they put it in to the time they get it out, it's like less than a week. So,
Yeah, so
so
that's a high temperature.
you know that.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Looking around the tree commissioners in case they've got anything else to say. We have some minutes of our last meeting, which was very short. Actually noted it was the video lasted about 3.5 minutes. So I think that probably goes down as the record shortest meeting we've ever had. So I think I circulated minutes before of the meeting. Maybe you didn't.
Yeah,
I did. Okay. We have a motion to approve them and a seconder.
I haven't seen them, so I can't.
I'll,
Sorry,
motion.
I thought I'd given you a copy.
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any objections to approving the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, that's all the business for this meeting. Our next meeting will be February the 12th at 7 p.m, the second Thursday of the month, as usual, in this council chamber. And with that, the Tree Commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you.